Hey folks, it's been a while since I've done one of these, so I thought I'd get a little update out to you while I had the privacy, the chance to do that. Mom's out at the PACE program, so putting together a little update. Um, okay, I'm going to do the me stuff first, and it's going to be quick. I'm good. Thankfully, after the medical issue that I had earlier this year with my gallbladder, really very little food bothers me. I've never had anything painful. I've never had any diarrhea or anything like that. A few things. I ate some French fries. I ate a couple bites of chocolate ice cream just to see how that would work. And in both cases, I noticed my stomach kind of squeezing where the muscles would squeeze to squeeze bile out of your gallbladder and digest the fat, but nothing I can call painful. And, I just kind of go light on those things or avoid them completely. And really, I've been fine. I've heard people can barely even look at, French fries or an avocado without getting diarrhea or having excruciating pain in their stomach. And I'm at the opposite end of that spectrum. Really, very little bothers me at all. So far, so good with that. I'm walking well. My brace is comfortable and working well. I'm not worried about it falling apart on me with every step because I got the new ones. And that is a welcome change of pace. Building up my stamina, I'm still pretty slow. Not that I was ever fast, but physical therapists have basically told me get your stamina back and your strength, your speed will follow. Don't worry about trying to go fast because that's when people crash and burn. And so, I'm slower than I was before, which was already slow, but uh, but I've got my stamina back. To the point where I actually went to a Padres game and they I got dropped off by the Uber outside of center field, and my seats are behind home, so I had to walk around the entire ballpark, and it wasn't a problem at all. So that's all good. Knee is good. Gallbladder health issues are good. I'm all good. I've been trying to make a point to get out and have a life a little bit myself. Jane and I a few weeks ago went up to the Bay Area, had a business appointment in San Francisco, and then just hung out with friends and family, her family, in San Jose for the next few days. And it was amazing to get away for 3 days and just kind of not be at home and in the middle of all the stuff going on here, but also nice that I felt like I could get away for 3 days without everything falling apart here at home. I went to a baseball game, first time in a year and a half, my first game. I used to go to 12, 15 games a year all the time. When I was a kid, I used to go to 30 games a year all the time. But so for me to not go for a year and a half, almost 2 full years, is painful. So hopefully I'll be able to get to another game or two while the Padres are really good this year. That's always fun and rare. And, dinner with friends a couple times in the last couple of weeks, and I just trying to have a life because otherwise I was just going crazy. So if you're in the San Diego area and feel like having lunch or dinner with me, please just let me know. I will say yes. And let's see. So that's the me stuff. It's all good. Most of this is going to be about mom. And I kind of have to go through a few weeks of history here to kind of give you an idea of what's going on. Um, it's probably been 6 or 7 weeks now. We put mom on Cymbalta, which is an anti-anxiety medication, which people told me it takes a couple weeks to take effect. Of course, the doctors and medical people didn't tell me this. I just had people I know who took it, and or had family who took it, or saw their clients take it, like the caregivers. So they're like, "Oh yeah, give it 2 weeks." And literally on the 2 week anniversary, something kind of like the low point for mom happened. And that was she just walked out the door during the afternoon. And, I mentioned before, we have two people living here with us now, mother and daughter, Sylvia and Nicole. And, Nicole's 12, but Nicole followed mom because Sylvia was taking a nap because Sylvia stays up through a lot of the night with mom, just watching mom, not getting solid sleep. And mom went to walk in, and Nicole tends to kind of hang back. And that was at a time that mom was not getting along with Nicole well. She would say, "I don't like the dark one." They're both dark. She has a long-haired dark one. So like a little bit of racism popping up here. My mom's the least racist person ever. But that's common when people get older. And no, just any movement, any noise that Nicole made, mom was just, "Argh," and was really negative towards her for a while. And like I say, this was kind of the peak of that. Um, Mom started going into someone else's garage, And on our walk in the neighborhood, garage door was open. Mom started walking in. Nicole caught up to her and said, hey, Sue, and a 12-year-old, I give her a lot of credit for recognizing this. She said, this looks like your house, but it isn't. It's the same model, but it's not your house. And Mom apparently spun on her and was like, who are you to tell me what I can and can't do? And Nicole's like, well, you shouldn't be in this garage. It's someone else's, and they could come out and be really unhappy. And Mom went past her around the corner and started to open up the gate to go into the backyard where there were barking, snarling dogs. And Mom was working on the gate, and so Nicole kind of pulled her away from the gate. Like, Sue, you can't go in there. It's, those dogs are not happy and they're not yours, and, that kind of thing. And Mom spun on Nicole and grabbed her by the hair and was like shaking her. And, you got to understand, Nicole's kind of a badass. She's awesome. But she takes boxing lessons and stuff, and she's really good. They have her boxing with 14 to 16-year-old boys. And I've seen a film of her just as a 12-year-old girl just beating just owning this 14-year-old boy. And she said she told me later, she's thinking to herself, do I box? Do I fight this 81-year-old woman? I can't do that. What do I do here? And she managed to get her Mom's hand unentangled from her hair. And she backed away from Mom, and Mom chased her. And literally Nicole just guided her by running backwards, guided Mom home, with Mom chasing her the whole way. And what I heard from my room was the front door opening. And I heard Nicole come through, and I could just tell it was her, but I could hear Mom, like, in the distance, just shouting incoherent stuff. I couldn't tell what she was saying, but she was clearly yelling something. And Nicole ran to my doorway and was like, your mom's chasing me, your mom's chasing me. And then her eyes got really big, and I could hear Mom boom, boom, boom. I could hear her feet coming through the front door. And so Nicole took off and went around toward the back of the house. Mom came by and said, Mom, come sit down. She was huffing and puffing. She was like, I don't know, that little demon was around again. I tried to chase it off. I mean, not talking about her like she's a person. And meanwhile, Nicole ran around the house, up the stairs, up to their room, and closed and locked the door and just, hid. And Mom was, very agitated and stuff. She went upstairs 5 minutes later, fell asleep, came downstairs an hour later, and it was all just forgotten, and had no idea what was going on. And I mean, Nicole, as a 12-year-old girl, dealt with it fantastically. She didn't freak out. She wasn't scared. She just said, no, I know it's the dementia. Your mom's really nice. So kudos, right? That was, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks ago. And that was exactly 2 weeks after taking Cymbalta. And literally starting the next day, Mom completely changed. Her agitation is gone. She wasn't worried about every noise. She didn't feel like she had to jump up and run out the door. She recognizes that Nicole is a super nice person and is helping all the time. And, and Mom's just like, oh, you're so pretty. And you're, I can't believe you're only 12. And, super nice with both Nicole and Sylvia. And literally the last several weeks have just been, almost month, have been really good. And I think it's just completely the Cymbalta. It was exactly 2 weeks after she started taking it that all these little things, and she was annoyed by every sound. And unfortunately, some of those things have started coming back in the last week, just little teeny versions of it. But so I've got to call into the doctors today saying, hey, can we up the dosage or the frequency, or is that something that we can or can't do? I don't know the answer, because I see her again being annoyed by sounds. Yesterday she was on a walk, and one of our neighbors is doing work in their front yard, and they're cutting tile, and it makes a lot of noise. And she just walked up to the workers and said, you're done, you can go home, you don't need to do this anymore. And they just, look on their faces was very confused, and and we're kind of gesturing with our hands like, loco en la cabeza, and they're like, oh, okay. And then we pulled Mom away. But she's telling people to go home because she doesn't like the noises that they're making. And sound triggers her. And she's kind of back to, if anybody walks around upstairs, who's here? I have to go check. We don't know who's here. Some more of those kind of things. So, a couple times she's recently, and this hadn't happened for several weeks, where she comes home from going for a walk or going to the PACE program or going out in general, and she doesn't think it's our house. She's like, well, okay, this is nice, but I have to pack my stuff and I have to walk home. Like, well, where do you think home is? I don't know. She's just gonna go, and we have to like talk her down off of that. And this morning, 4 a.m., she was trying to go out the door, and she had 3 bags, just little like gift bags. One had 2 pairs of shoes in it. The other had a supply of basically Depends, which at least she realizes that she needs those, because that's a new development with the Depends. For a while, she just resisted taking them. No, I don't need that. No, I don't need that. And now it's just diapers. I mean, she's just not even trying to go to the bathroom anymore. She's just loading them up 3 times a day. And she, again, with the Cymbalta, she's been much more amenable to people helping her. She's letting people give her showers. She's letting people change her Depends and clean her up, where in the past she fought that. So, these are things that are better, but are, I like I say, some of them I'm starting to see signs that it's like, oh, she's starting to regress a little bit. And so, like I said, she had her shoes, Depends, and the third bag was like 2 books and a shirt. And she was just going to take her gift bags and walk out the door at 4 a.m. And she couldn't tell anybody where she was going, and Sylvia got her to go back, lay down on the couch, took her shoes off, and Mom was asleep within 3 minutes. And Sylvia wound up pulling up a chair and sitting within 3 feet of her and just sleeping through the rest of the night, into the morning on a chair within a couple feet of Mom. So, so that's where that is. Before the Cymbalta kicked in, a month ago, I've kind of chosen a local facility to help, and they had a 2-person waiting list for a solo room. A room opened up that was sharing a room with somebody, and I just said, no, I don't think that's going to work well for Mom. But if they had called and said, okay, a solo room has opened up, I would have, they need to repaint and redecorate and stuff, and I would have put Mom in there a week later. And now, Sylvia and Nicole are like, no, we can keep care of her for a while. We like her. We want to keep her here. They're saying, don't put her in a home. We got her. And I think that's true, but I want to see what happens with this Cymbalta. If we can up the dosage and have it be super effective again, great. If this decline that I've just seen literally in the last week, if the kind of regression continues, then we'll be back to where we were fairly soon, I think. So anyway, that's what's going on. Don't get old. Sucks. Or at least find a way to stay healthy. And I have no idea what causes this, but I wouldn't wish this on anyone. I hope you're doing well. Please feel free to reach out to me. Ask me any questions. Tell me what's going on in your world. Love to get together with a lot of you who are close to me. Everyone on this list. I'll get together with you if you need to, if you want to. You're all friends. And we'll talk soon. Take care.